All right, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to another special live chat portion of the Blitz. For those who have been tuning in ever since yesterday for the New Year's Indie Book Blitz, welcome back. I know there's been a lot of authors today, but I'm super excited for this panel because this is another one of our featured authors, Christine Marshall, who is here because you voted and nominated that Christine come on as a featured guest and not just one of our panelists this year. So, Christine, thank you for agreeing to come on.
Absolutely. I'm so excited.
It is so exciting. I know when I put it up on Instagram, the votes, your name was dropped in so many times. And I was like, all right, I hope Christine will do this with me because this is such a busy weekend.
Oh yeah, it's a good week for us. We're on vacation. We're just at home chilling. It's awesome. Yeah.
That's great. So, yeah, for those who don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of books you write?
Okay, so I'm Christine Marshall and I'm a fantasy author. My books are perfect for readers of all ages. I've had 10, 11-year-olds read them and love them. I've had adults read them and love them. They're appropriate for readers of all ages. And I have some that are fairy tale retellings, like the princess fairy tale retellings. I have some adventure stories, and a couple of my books are humorous adventure stories. And then my newest one is like a Peter Pan steampunk underground dwarf book that is kind of geared for boys, but everyone will love it. So,
That
and like
sounds awesome.
right now I have 10 published books, and then we have 3 more on the schedule. So, yeah.
Wow. So they don't always have the same characters then in those
No,
retelling ones.
yeah. So there's the core, like the first core series is the Charlie and the Giants books. And so there's Rise of the Giants, Battle of the Giants, and Last of the Giants. And Charlie is the main character of those. And then there's 3 princess retellings that are kind of the prequel trilogy for that. And they each feature a different main character. And the first one, Becoming Cinder, is a Cinderella retelling, and Jessamine, the main character, ends up becoming the villain of all the other books, all of the other books. So all the books take place in the same world. And
Mm.
then there's other side characters that have gotten their own stories and books. And there's Promise Beauty is my new Beauty and the Beast one. It's a standalone, but it's still in that same world. But there's no like crossover characters for that one. So if you like one, you'll like them all.
I love books where you can pick them up and you can read them sort of whatever order you want, or one that catches your interest, and then you're like, well, now I'm hooked. I have to read everything.
Yeah, and that's how these are. Some of them are numbered, but that's just the chronological order. Most of them can be read in any order that you want. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So, how did you get into writing? Have you always wanted to write? Did you accidentally stumble into it?
So I've been writing stories since I was a kid. I never, like, I always thought it'd be really cool to publish a book, but I never really thought it would happen. And probably about 6 years ago, I um, wrote my first book, Rise of the Giants, and tried the traditional route, getting an agent, like all of that. So I was querying and it wasn't going anywhere. And I kind of just put it aside and said, well, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm not going to be an author. And then
Mm.
the pandemic,
Oh,
after
yeah.
a year of binge watching TV shows and playing way too many hours of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on my Nintendo Switch, I was like, I got to do something different. And my husband said, why don't you pull out your manuscript and let's do this. And so that's what we did. I've been publishing indie publishing for 2 years now, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but it's been so much fun, and
Oh,
I've loved connecting with other authors and readers on social media. So
yeah. And you've had a great support group too off social media. We were talking before we went live about how, like, your husband has been 100% on board and supportive and helping you on your journey.
yeah.
So,
So Steve, if you're watching, Katherine said you could come in and say hi.
yeah. Hi, Steve.
Join us. Steve does all of my cover art. for all my books.
Wow.
All of my books have illustrations also by him. And he does pen and ink illustrations, and then we digitize them and put them in the books.
Wow.
Oh, he's coming in. Yay.
Yay. Hi.
All the kids are watching in our room.
Yeah, we have 5 kids. So there he is.
Hey, Steve. Thank you for all you do. Your gorgeous covers and everything.
Thank you.
And he's like the artist, designer, stylist. I mean, like, he does it all. So he built this awesome backdrop for these interviews, and then we can take it with us to shows. Today, even when I was getting ready, he's like, here's a couple different outfits you can wear. Make sure you do your hair, and I'll get everything all set up. So,
oh,
yeah.
Hi, so nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Rachel says, I caught one stream. Yay. Perfect time because you got to see Steve.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do, we're both on social media, and we do a lot together on social media as well. So if you follow one of us, you'll find the other one in there a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really exciting. I know we were talking on some other panels today that the level of support that you have can vary so much. And it's just such an easier journey when you actually have someone who knows what you're going through, who's there to walk through you, both with, family, but also we've had a lot of people talk about the indie author community. And it sounds like, with you going to shows and everything, how has being indie really impacted, your writing journey and publishing?
I was not on social media before I started publishing. And so I joined to be part of the indie author community. And it has been life-changing, really. We don't have a lot of extended family. So Steve really is my only family, and my children are my support system. I don't have other people, extended family, to be there with me, but I've found that family on Book Talk and on Facebook and Instagram. And it has changed everything for me. And I mean, you're one of the first people I connected with when I first started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And my daughter and I love your books. And I remember like following you on Facebook and thinking, oh my gosh, this person actually knows who I am. And it's now like, I feel like I get to do that for other people too. And it's just really, really such a great community. And we all help each other out. And one of my favorite people, Tanya, she's on social media at Celtic Blue to You PA Services. She's a friend that we've met on social media, and her favorite saying is, "The rising tide lifts all boats," and that's how that community feels.
Yes, exactly. Because the whole reason we've been doing the panels for the Blitz, as we've said earlier in other streams, has been that if you find one author that you really love, they can only put out a book so fast, and so we're not looking at competitors. We're looking at our colleagues, our peers. And if you're not reading my books, you can be reading Christine's book. If you're not reading Christine's books, you can read somebody else's books. Like there's so many.
It's like, I'm a voracious reader, so I need like stacks and stacks of books. So it's definitely not a competition. If I find a book that I like, I want all the books like that by everybody. I want them all. I'm sure most readers are like that too.
Yes. So one question I had about your writing, because you get in the head of your characters so well, is do you feel like that is your mom instinct from having your kids, or your innocent sense of whimsy from when you were young? Or does it something that's really hard to get into? Because like you mentioned earlier, you have a trilogy where it follows a young boy, and versus writing these as adults. How do you sort of bridge that gap?
Okay. I know my husband's okay with me saying this because he says it too, but he's kind of a big kid. So when I write the boy adventure stories, I really try to get into his head. And like, he knows how to have fun. Whenever I'm out with the kids by myself, I always think, okay, if I want to make a memory with them, what would dad do? What would their dad do? What would Steve do? Because he just has this amazing sense of fun and adventure. And so I try to see things from his eyes for that part of it. And then like I said, I'm an avid reader. And so I just kind of read a lot, and I've read a lot all these years, and I kind of just like stick in the back of my mind the things that I like about characters and like scenes and stories and things like that to help me make sure I'm getting it out there. And then I have teenage daughters, so my husband and my teenage daughters read my books too before I publish them and give me feedback as well. So that's really fun. It's a whole family activity.
Yeah. And so really this character is the result of a lot of different
Absolutely.
inputs. That's wonderful.
And some of the characters that I started with, I based loosely off of my children's personality, all of my kids' personalities, and so that kind of got me going. And then from there, I was able to kind of expand out and use my imagination more. So
yeah. Luna asked, "Do you have a favorite out of your books?"
Okay, that is like the hardest question ever. It's like asking me to choose a favorite child.
Especially since personalities are loosely tied.
But I feel like it's usually like my newest book is my favorite because I've been like spending so much time with the characters. And so right now I just released Promise Beauty, which is my Beauty and the Beast retelling. And that's probably my favorite princess book as of right now. And then my other book that I just released, Noblestone and the Lost Dwarves, is the Peter Pan Steampunk Dwarf Underground Adventure. And that one's like for boys, and it's full of adventure, and it's a group of friends that are on this quest to save their people, and it's super, super fun. So those are my two favorite right now, but I love all of my books so much.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think when I started doing interviews, I started asking that question, and then I shifted to which of your books would you recommend if someone was picking up a book of yours for the first time that's like looking for a good example of your style?
So that one right now is Promise Beauty. It's a shorter, like it's because it's a standalone, it's not part of a long series. And so you can read it and you get the warm fuzzies, and then you'll love it and you'll want to read all of my other books. Some of my books, like the Cinderella one, do not end in happily ever after. And so that can be hard to start with that one because then you want to read all the rest of them. And if you're like, I don't have time to read a million books, but like I said, she becomes the villain of all the other stories. And so that's like the other one I would recommend starting with is Becoming Cinder. But just be prepared, bring your tissues, because it's Cinderella becomes the villain, so you know that she's not going to get what she wants.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you go about tackling the classic, I don't want to call it a problem because I don't know that it's a problem, but it's definitely a challenge, I think, writing general fiction to fit multiple ages. How do you tackle making something that's whimsical and innocent enough for the younger children, but also intriguing enough and, for the adults?
That's a really, really good question. So, for starters, one of the reasons why I say they're for readers of all ages is there's no there's a little bit of violence in some of the books. There's like battle scenes, but it's not like graphic violence. There's no sex. So like in all of the romance stories, it's all sweet, innocent, like they kiss a little and that's it. And then there's no bad language at all in any of them, like nothing. And so that opens it up to be able, if you can read a book, you can read these. Some of like the princess stories, because there's like the romance to it. So younger kids might not enjoy it as much because there's a little bit of romance, but I've had
Is this a kissing book?
I know, yeah. 10 and 11 and 12-year-old boys and girls have really loved even those books. And then like some of the adventure ones, I keep the pace really good and fast. And so that keeps an adult reader interested, but a young reader also is going to like it. And then one of the things that we've really tried to do, so my husband grew up and he really struggled with reading when he was a kid. And he said he always liked books with pictures in them because it would kind of help like break up the reading part of the book. And so one of the reasons why he illustrates our books. And so for people who have kids or grandkids or friends or nieces or nephews that struggle with reading a little bit, the books, that's why we have pictures in them too. And they're really whimsical illustrations. There's always like little secret things that he's hidden in there that if you don't really look at it super closely, you won't notice. And so a kid that likes that is going to sit and really study those pictures for a while. And then that can help them want to continue reading the book too.
Yeah. Oh, it makes me think of like the old classic Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
It's like book without pictures.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So you've really got a sweet spot where you have someone who can illustrate for you, who can design covers for you. You've got family on board with you. Where do you guys see your books going in 2024? You have author events you're excited about for next year?
Yes. So I think we've officially registered for 4 different book events so we live in Eastern Tennessee, so just kind of within like a day's drive or so from us. And then a lot of the events aren't opening up for applications till after the new year, so we'll be signing up for more, and our goal is to go to as many as we can. And the first one so far that we have scheduled is the Rose Glen Literary Festival in Sevierville, Tennessee, which is where Dollywood is for anyone who's familiar with Dollywood. And so the Rose Glen Literary Festival, and we're going to be there. We'll have our whole big backdrop. We'll be selling books and signing them. And we always give out stickers and bookmarks and things with our books as well. And I love talking to readers and answering questions and getting to know people. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Nice to meet a fellow Tennessean.
Yeah, remember that you live in Tennessee too.
Yeah, opposite side of the state, but yeah. Oh my goodness. So I am super excited for everything you've got going in the new year. Thank you so much for hopping on and talking about your books. This has been so long overdue chatting. Oh my goodness. But seriously, thank you. And thank you, Steve and the kids for watching. And everybody else who's watching live too. I know Rachel is on. We've had John come and go and Luna on. If you're watching live and you were like, no, I didn't get my question for Christine, drop it in the comments. I can send it to Christine in a message. We can get you an answer back. But yeah, thank you again, Christine. This was awesome.
I'll just put in a little plug. My website is christinemarshallauthor.com. Super easy to remember. And you can see all the books on there and the upcoming books and everything. And if you love fantasy or you know anyone who loves fantasy, you'll love these books. So
yes. And they are in the description box too, is the link to Christine's website. So you can just scroll down if you're on YouTube and click there and start reading the books. And if you're looking for more indie authors, we have more panels for the next 3 days. This is the Blitz. So we are going to be back at 6:00 Central to talk about lit RPG and adventure fantasy. But then tomorrow morning, if you have children who are watching who would like to tune in, we're going to have some middle grade and young adult fantasy authors on tomorrow morning. Thank you so much, Christine. Take care.
Katherine, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.